How to evaluate algebraic expressions. We had already learned that in our previous lesson. We do that by substituting values for variables. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Learning Maths with Namita. Today we are going to take the next step. What if you are given a statement instead of an algebraic expression? Something like 5 more than a number. How can we turn these words into mathematics? Let's learn this today. First, we choose a variable. Alright, why? Because we don't know the number yet. So, to represent it, we use a variable. The variable could be x, it could be y, it could be a. Okay, you can choose anything as per your choice. Alright, now we have to look for the key mathematical words. Key mathematical words means how do we find out that whether we have to do addition, subtraction, multiplication or division in that particular problem. So look for the mathematical words, like if your statement has terms like plus, more than, increased, increased by, added or increment, it means you need to do addition. You will find out words like less than, decreased by, difference between and reduced to in subtraction problems. And if you have words like times, product of or twice or thrice, etc., it means that you need to multiply. And division can be implied by terms like divided by, quotient of or distributed, etc. Alright, but hey, always be careful what the whole statement is saying. Alright, don't just look at a single word and find out. I'll tell you later why. So the statement that we started with was 5 more than x. Alright, so I said that first I need to choose a variable. Let's suppose I'm choosing x to represent that number, and then it says 5 more than that number. So that number is represented by x and we are talking about 5 more than it. Alright, so that number is x and this x is representing what? That particular number. Alright, and this whole algebraic expression is representing what? 5 more than x, or you can say 5 more than the number. Alright, clear? Okay, let's take some examples. Alright, similar to these. For example, we have 3 times a number. Alright, so 3 times a number means first you need to choose a variable to represent that number. Here I have chosen a as the variable and it will be multiplied to 3 times this number. Alright, so it will be written like 3a. So whenever you see a term like this, it means they are being multiplied. Alright, so it can be written like this, it can be written like this without the multiplication symbol here, and a multiplied by 3 will also be equal to 3a. Alright, don't write it like a3 because it represents something else. Alright, so we won't go there, but always write the variable after the number when you are writing the product of 2. Okay, now next one we can take a number decreased by 4. Alright, so let that number be y and it is decreased by 4. It is reduced by 4. So I have chosen variable y here. I am choosing different variables so that you get comfortable with this thing that it's not always x, it's not always a. Alright, so here y is representing that number and this whole expression is representing 4 less than a number. Alright, now see, whatever examples I have discussed till now, they all show only one mathematical operation. Here it was addition, here it was multiplication, and then we did subtraction, right? But you know what? Multiple mathematical operations can also be done in one algebraic expression. I'll show you one simple example. So let's say twice a number plus 3. Okay, 3 more than twice of a number. So first choose a variable. Let the number be x. Alright, so here x is representing that number. Now we won't do like this because this is what 3 more than x, and we are talking about 3 more than twice of a number. All right, see here. So first we will multiply that number by 2, then we will add 3. So here 3 is added to twice of the number, twice of x. Alright, so you have to read the words very carefully. Okay, don't get confused. So I'll give you another one. Alright, here it is. 3 times a number reduced by 4. Okay, now try to write an algebraic expression for this one. I want you to write before me. Alright, okay, so let's discuss it now. So 3 times a number, so if that number is x, its 3 times will be 3x, and then it is reduced by 4. Okay, so in a rush sometimes even if we know it we write like this, but you have to understand this is 4 subtracted from x, 4 reduced from x. This is 4 less than 3 times x. Alright, so read carefully what your question is saying. Okay, let's take one real life example. Okay, so it says Emma's brother is 3 years older than her, and we have to write an expression for her brother's age. Alright, so this, but how do we relate it to mathematics, and how do we find out what number we are talking about? So we don't know Emma's age. We have to write an expression for Emma's brother's age, but Emma's brother's age is related to her own age, right? So first we will assume a variable for, let Emma's age is x years. Okay, because this is in age, so it will be in years. We can't simply write x. Of course age is a number, but if we are talking about a quantity, we will use the unit accordingly. Here it is age, so we are using years. So Emma's age is x years, let's suppose. Now let's find out, let's write the relationship between Emma's brother and Emma's age. Okay, so Emma's brother's age is what? Is 3 more than Emma's, right? Plus 3. Am I right here? That's how we do. This we have to find out. The brother's age we have to find out. Emma's age we know, x, because we have assumed it, right? So we will use it here. Now plus 3. So this is the expression for Emma's brother age. So whatever Emma's age is, her brother will be 3 years older than her, right? So that's how we write expressions for statements. Okay, now let's discuss the steps in brief, and I'll write them all together at one place so that it's easier for you to understand. So first we do what? We identify the unknown quantity. Alright, like in just the previous example it was age, right? So first you have to identify the unknown quantity, then you choose a variable to represent it, right? Once you have chosen a variable, you have to look at what is being done to that quantity. Okay, whether it is increased, decreased, multiplied or divided. So you have to read the words very carefully. Then you have to translate those words into mathematical operation. You have to find out, oh, alright, am I adding before I am multiplying? I am multiplying before I am dividing. What exactly we are doing? Once you understand those words, once you translated those words, then you can easily write the algebraic expression for it, right? So once you look at the statement, you may feel that it is too much, but you break it down into simpler steps and it will be done. All right, now it's your turn. All right, I'm giving you some examples here and I want you to pause this video and try these on your own. Answers are there in this video itself, but do it yourself. All right, and then cross check the answers whether they are correct or not. If you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me on my email mentioned in the description box or through the comment section. So and then here are the answers. Don't look at the answers right now, solve it and then come to the answers. So alright students, this was it for today's video. Today we learned how to turn everyday statements and situations into algebraic expressions. But we only took a couple of examples, right? Because in our next lesson, we will practice this skill with more word problems, starting with the simpler ones and gradually moving to the more challenging ones, alright? So sit with your notebook and pen ready in our next lesson, alright? Till then, keep practicing and have fun. Bye-bye.